Ori and the Blind Forest is a story of life, death, rebirth, a mother's love, the self-destructive nature of revenge, giant demon owls, and a spirit tree cat rabbit Pokemon? Confused? Yeah, I thought you might be. Let me paint a picture for you. The opening of the game begins with the spirit tree that is the source of all life in the land of Nibel losing one of its newborns in a raging storm. Still an infant, the newborn known as Ori is found and mothered by Baymax. Big Mama Baymax raises Ori as her own, and as the seasons pass she teaches him to forage for food and generally how to survive. One day the spirit tree begins to emit an intense light calling out for its lost child to return home. Ori then sets out to restore the spirit tree and the land of Nibel by seeking out the three elements of the land: warmth, wind and water. Ori and the Blind Forest is a Metroidvania by developer Moon Studios and published by Microsoft Gaming Studios. You play as Ori, this adorable little fella, who is accompanied by Sein, the last ebb of life and the eyes and ears of the now nearly dead spirit tree. The primary gameplay mechanic here sees Ori handle the mobility and Sein handle the combat. Ori, being a spirit rabbit cat Pokemon, is very nimble, and even at the start of the game you feel the precision of his movements. The platforming is an absolute joy and the controls feel perfectly refined. As you progress through the game you gain new abilities granting access to new locations in true Metroidvania style. These can range from double and triple and power jumps to gliding, stomping, and my personal favourite, the ability to use enemies and their projectiles as slingshots by sending them one way as you propel yourself another. Whilst on the combat front, Sein uses spirit flame attacks to dispatch enemies and help Ori solve puzzles by breaking obstacles, etc. In addition to finding new skills along the way, there are also 3 level up trees that you can spend spirit energy gathered by killing the various critters that would impede Ori's journey. The trees basically translate into attack, which allows you to hit harder, faster, multi-attacks, etc. Momentum, gaining extra jumps, breathing underwater and the like. And health, more health gained when saving, and more efficient energy consumption for specials. The game has a rather unique game-saving mechanism in the form of spending spirit energy to create a soul link. This acts as both a save point and a place to buy those ever so vital upgrades. I found this both convenient and punishing, as more than once I was too immersed in the game and straight up forgot to save, then boom, I would die and would have to go back way further than I would really like to. The overmap of the game is basically 3 towers linked by a set of maze-like environments. So you go through an area, you get to the tower, this kind of serves as a dungeon of sorts, and instead of boss fights, upon completion of one of these towers, you have to escape in a fast-paced platform sequence where the slightest error means game over. Fans of the Rayman games will be all too familiar with this architecture, and for me, it was when the game was at its strongest. The graphic style in Ori and the Blind Forest is a marvel. Beautiful landscapes, lush animated backgrounds, wonderful bloom effects and smooth as silk animations. Guys, it's just gorgeous. If I were to criticise anything, it would be the lack of creative enemy designs, as you do tend to face the same enemies that you face right at the beginning of the game, in just different skin variants. But, if I'm being honest, the real enemy in this game is the platforming, and the critters are there just as additional obstacles. This is easily one of the best looking games I have ever played. The audio in this game really tugs at the heart. The composers of this soundtrack really captured the bleakness, desperation and loneliness of Ori's adventure. Not since Hollow Knight have I seen such a well-matched audio composition for a game. During the chase escape levels, it ramps up and becomes exciting whilst keeping the harmonies that you will no doubt end up humming for days after having finished the game. So to summarise, Ori and the Blind Forest was a surprise to me on many levels. In fact, I only picked it up because of a poll we ran on Twitter out of sheer boredom. So thank you to all that voted for this fantastic game. It's both challenging and rewarding, and whilst lacking the brutality of most other big names in the genre, it stands apart, and it is very quickly becoming one of my favourite indie titles ever. With only about 10 hours of gameplay, I would have liked it to be a little bit bigger, but honestly, I am pretty greedy. It was big enough. The sequel is due this year and I'm already sold. So the final score for Ori and the Blind Forest? 9 out of 10. Indie platform perfection, a must buy for fans of games like Hollow Knight and Rayman.